Ah, greetings, users. Um, Decided to try up something different this time. I've been playing a lot of Feed the Beast lately, and well, quite frankly, I'm getting frustrated with how there's not a whole lot of YouTube videos out there, at least not. Okay, there's tons of YouTube videos out there of people playing Feed the Beast, but I don't like a lot of the tutorials, so I decided to do something myself. So this is me, hey, use Feed the Beast strategy guide. And for those of you who are scared of Feed the Beast, like maybe you don't like mods or you just don't even know where to start, I'd like to do this in nice little segments. So hopefully I'll have a giant playlist going that you can find just about anything you want. I'm going to break things down mod by mod. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with Feed the Beast, obviously it's a collection of Minecraft mods that general consensus is that they enhance the game. So, but the first thing you need to know about Feed the Beast is, of course, your first night on any Feed the Beast server is spent just like any other, trying to gather resources in order to get yourself safe. So, you go get your cobble. You start laying down a little cobble hobble, as I love to call them, and you get yourself safe from mobs. Because just like in Feed the Beast, I'm sorry, Feed the Beast is just like normal Minecraft in that you gotta defend yourself. You have to protect yourself and keep yourself indoors away from bad guys. In fact, there's even some mod enhancements that increase the difficulty of the bad guys. There's angry zombies that run around that will literally, eat your face off in 2 hits. Of course, killing these angry zombies gets you things like uh, things like zombie brains and things like that you can use in mods to uh, to enhance your gameplay. The first thing you do is you craft your little workbench so you can make your stone pickaxes, so you can make a furnace and cook down meat. You go and you make your first little chest of things. Save your sapling, save your bone meal. So you can do it. It's just like any other game, but that's about where it stops. Because from this point forward, everything you know about Minecraft is subject to change. Let's just to put it lightly. Um, so let's see what we've got here. We've got the first thing you'll notice, of course, is things like not enough items is installed. Now, basically, this don't not to be scary. Right now, I've got it in cheat mode because I'm doing demonstrations and stuff. But normally, this will just give you every recipe you could possibly think of. How do I make bricks? It's not gonna. Okay, bad choice. um, how do I make a diamond block? You click on it, and look what that gives you. It gives you all the recipes. As a matter of fact, it even tells you all the different ways to make it. Um, Also, you can hover over something and hit U, the key U, and it'll tell you all the uses for the diamond block. This is the basic building block that you need to use to first master in order to utilize Feed the Beast. Being able to navigate. One of the first things you'll notice is down here in the bottom. You've got this typing field, which you can actually search for anything you want. Let's say sword. Look at all that. We've got all these different types of swords. You'll see things like green sapphire swords and blue sapphire swords, vile swords, all these crazy things. Anything in this mod pack rather, is here and searchable. Let's see. Another thing you'll find is if you want, you can also go into all the different breakdowns of all the different mods that are included. And this is how you navigate Feed the Beast. Like as you start mining, as you start digging down into the ground, you start picking up stuff, and the first thing you'll want to do is hover over it, hit U, find out everything you can use it for. um, Another thing I'm sure you've probably noticed is up in the top right corner, I've got a little mini map thing. That is what they call Ray's minimap, REI. Ray. Not to be confused with my buddy Ray. He didn't actually make it. The guy's a genius programmer, but what it does is it allows you to control. I'm sorry, not really control. It allows you to see, the surrounding area around you. It also has some options for waypoints. I spawned in next to a village, which you can see off in the distance over here. So I plugged down a little waypoint. You can add waypoints, put in coordinates. So let's say cobble hobble. And since my favorite color is blue, oh, what am I doing? Let's put that as blue. Ugh! Sticks a waypoint in your face. So, one of the first things I like to do, as of course part of my strategy guide, is going to be, as soon as you put your waypoints, especially if you've got a building, jump up on top of your roof. Let's go into jump up on top of our roof and then put our waypoint up here. What this does is it keeps it out of your face, and it also makes it a lot easier to see from further distances. The higher up they are, the less they get interfered with whatever kind of objects. As you can see off in the distance, see how it's up off the horizon? The further I dig down into the ground, the harder that's going to be to see. So I always recommend sticking it up on top of your roof. Just dirt pillar up your way to your roof and then plop it down on the roof there. So we'll plug up our hole, and of course, whoops. Don't be afraid to set waypoints if you find anything interesting. I remember caving on my Let's Play, and my buddy had found some mysterious ore that he couldn't break with his pick. Like we had an iron pick, and he couldn't figure out what it was. He was just hitting away at it. So what does he do? He plops down a little waypoint and goes about caving, and later on we went to look at it. Turns out it was iridium, which requires a diamond pick to mine. Now, because I say don't be afraid to use waypoints, because you know what? All you got to do is go right in here to this little waypoint here, and see that's the first one we put in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click remove. I'm going to tell this one to X this one. Keep these two, but X this one and remove it, and voila. Instantly removed. And another thing is, if you're worried about cluttering up your waypoints, if you were to go into, say, the Nether, you'd have a whole separate menu for all of your waypoints in the Nether. You'd have a whole separate list of waypoints rather. And so that basically you don't have to worry too much about, cluttering up things as much. I love it. It's completely customizable. So let's see here. What else can I go over for episode 1? There's a few things you're going to want to take a look at first. This is, like I said, just going to be the introduction to FTB. One of the first things you'll find is that you're going to have key configurations that are going to interfere with everything. Things like the mini map, the menu key for Ray's mini map is default set to the letter N. Is it Nancy? I set mine to K, so I'm a little less likely to hit it, because I think N's used for something else. Maybe not. Another thing I use is the toggle enable function. To get to this, I just I hit my K button to open up the menu, and I went down here to key config. I don't know if I kind of ran through that. I set the enable button to something like the apostrophe or something, because what that allows me to do is just anytime I want to turn that off, because especially if you've got your F3 screen open, sometimes it can mess up and cover up like your allocated memory. I just set that toggle button so I can flip it on and off whenever I want. Again, that's just a personal preference, but it's my strategy guide. It's my tips and tricks. Anything I can think of. So going into the key config, another thing is the zoom function. What this does is, here if you watch the map, it zooms in and then zooms right back out. I like it nice and zoomed out, because then I can see a little bit further off than I would normally see without having to affect my render distance. I've got Optifine installed, but it still kind of lags out because there's so many mods. Another important function is the large map, which I set to M, just because I'm not accidentally hitting it that way, and I can M for map. And then my waypoint was default to C, the Z key, but I moved it over to the V because I use my C for something else. So pulling up M pulls up the giant map there. So it's actually, you know, as you walk around, it'll move around on you. It's pretty cool. Next, of course, going into the larger control options, one of the first things I had to do was, you know, every time you open up Feed the Beast, it's going to reset all of your key configs. That's just the nature of the game because you're basically starting a brand new game over. So it's got its own launcher, it's got its own everything. So I hate to say it, but sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and come in here and change it once. I know I fight with my wife every time we play something or every time the server updates. She has to go in here and reconfigure everything. It drives her nuts. But one of the big things, of course, was if you use Optifine, you had to set your zoom. I like Q. Another big thing that messes up was things here like pocket crafting table was set to C, and a lot of times that's also your side inventory key. You're gonna have to switch that out. It's just a matter of finding inventory keys that suit you. I always set my inventory to the E key instead of the I because the I is way across the keyboard. It drives me nuts having to hit that. So I set it to the E, and that can conflict with things because one of the big things that people always overlook is the NEI, not enough items options, because it has its own separate options and controls. So if you want to see the recipe for anything, it's default set to R. And if you have your inventory key set to R, that's going to cause huge headaches every time you try to open your inventory. So that's why I set it to I. And of course, here's where the usage was with the letter U. So every time you want to see what something's used for, it'll, you know, show up there for you. Last but not least, this you normally won't see because normally you'd be in a recipe mode. That's what if you're playing on like a public server that you're not an op on or an admin on, you're probably going to be stuck in recipe mode because you're not going to have creative mode rights. So making sure this is on recipe mode, what this means is boom, I can click on anything. Left clicking gives me a recipe for it, right clicking gets me the uses for it. Looks like you can upgrade your enchantment table with gold into a chunk loader. See? You can learn something new every day. I haven't actually messed with the chunk loaders much because I heard they changed them so they actually consume ender pearls. But that's the world anchor. I apologize. That's the world anchor that consumes ender pearls. So, and like I said, everything's gone over here because those are all part of creative mode, cheaty mode, safe sets. So just so we're not all confused, that's why I've got all this stuff here. But it's so that I can help provide better content. So first night is basically treated like anything else. You want to get indoors, get safe, and try to get some resources. Start digging down, get yourself some coal. Now the one thing I will say is that a lot of times, you know, your first instinct is to go down to get coal and start making torches. If it's at all possible, I'd recommend getting those saplings. You know, getting some trees. There's even some biomes in this mod pack that have incredibly huge redwood trees that are basically, you know, the 2x2 jungle trees. Things like that are incredibly vital and can give you an amazing amount of wood right out the gate. Now, if you can do that, you'd want to take that wood, start burning it down into charcoal and using it for torches. You know why? Because coal is way more useful than you'll ever know. I mean, go check out somebody like Seth Bling, who's made something. He makes his little made a video about his bling box, is what he calls it, where you actually take a stack of coal and break it down into a diamond by compressing it with all the different modded machines and stuff. So next time you go to use that coal, take a second guess because, you know, it's amazing to see what some of these things are used for. So the idea of this first episode was just, you know, to get people who maybe have never even heard of the mod to get them their first look at it, and to show them the basics so you're not just blown away and just sent running for the hills because these mods are scary. They're not to be taken lightly. But at the same time, once you know what you're looking at and what you're looking for, this game is just amazing. All those things that we used to hate about Minecraft, like why can't I make this farm more automated? Why do I gotta, always keep this seeds planted? Well, guess what? There's been mods made for it. Things to automate just about everything you can possibly think of. So I think we'll call it for the first episode, and stay tuned, guys. I'll start going over some strategies on how to start out and how to use individual mods for your benefit. Thanks again, guys. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate the support. If you enjoyed what you saw, give me a like, maybe subscribe. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more of these videos coming, and of course if there's anything you guys would like to see in future episodes, I've actually included a Google form down below in the description that you guys can fill out for suggestions / feedback, so you guys tell me how I'm doing and what you guys like. I appreciate all the support, and stay tuned for more.